Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Shelley Payne, and the Center for Student Success asked me to send along just kind of a few tips for maybe some success as we think about spring semester classes. So first of all, congratulations. Everyone made it through the kind of wackiest fall that we have experienced so far. And so let me tell you a little bit about some information that I shared with my students in fall. And I think just kind of lessons learned about how I would go about coaching students for success in college in an online or blended environment. Okay, so my first tip, kind of harkens right out of the Academic Support Center. And so if you haven't attended one of their sessions about kind of scheduling and how to build a schedule, you should. Our Academic Support Center is really awesome. And one of the best things I've ever heard them deliver in any of my classes to my students is really talk about how you build your master's schedule. And I think in this, very weird virtual world, that schedule is really important. I mean, I know I am a creature of habit. I love schedule. I love lists. I love to cross things off. When our environment really drastically changes from our kind of normal rhythms of life, I think schedule still remains really important. So when you are thinking about your spring semester, build a schedule. Find a planner that you like, pick out one at the new year that's pleasing to your eye, or if you don't like paper, you prefer to do a computer calendar, use your Microsoft calendar, great, do that. But get one that you'll use. Learn how to set repeating events in it so that once you fill in your classes, you just click it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, repeat to the end of the semester. And make sure that you include your classes. Obviously, if those classes are face-to-face, make sure you have that on your calendar and you know where you're going. Get moving, get your butt there regardless, but put that class into your schedule. If we're talking about a blended or an online environment, so if there's a synchronous part, if you are supposed to be tuning in when the professor is lecturing or doing class activities live, tune in and try to make sure that you're in a place that you can get the distractions away. If it's asynchronous, it still goes on your calendar for 3 hours a week. If it's a 3-credit-hour class, pick the time that you want to do that class. Now, again, the beauty of an asynchronous is that you're flexible to kind of choose when you want to put it on your schedule, those 3 hours a week. You can move around your work schedule or, really determine when your brain works best. Sometimes, we really dictate that and say, oh, you have to take anatomy at 8 a.m. Well, if your anatomy brain doesn't work great at 8 a.m., then put that class on your schedule somewhere else. And make sure that you're also including study time in there. And again, really kind of think about when are you most productive? When does your brain work best in some sort of study mode? Okay, so again, that was a big cheat from the Academic Support Center. That is really all of their information. So let me talk to you a little bit about my suggestions. So my background is I'm an athletic trainer and I'm a physical therapist. And so I teach the stuff. I try to live the stuff, but I also am really tuned into how important physical activity, physical movement is on our emotions. So making us feel really good. And then also about making our brain work best. And so we all get locked in, especially as spring semester starts and the weather's really cruddy outside, it's really going to be easy to stare at your computer for hours on end just because, and now, the move part of, oh, I have to go from Roush to the Center for Health and Sports Sciences, that move part is not necessarily going to be in your life. So just, recognize that and you have to think about scheduling some breaks for yourself that get you away from your computer. And it's a bonus if that break includes some sort of physical activity, getting out, taking a walk, getting some fresh air, getting yourself some sunlight, and a bonus if it also includes interaction with another human or your pet. Okay, my dog has been walked more than he would ever want to be walked when we were kind of in the first lockdown. But even so, as we came here ending fall semester, came back home for finals, he loved that little bit of extra time, and it was good for me too. There's nothing like a pet that kind of warms your heart. But again, know that you have to give yourself some of those feel-good endorphins, whether it's physical activity or connection with another human. Okay, environment matters. Do not take your class in your PJs. I told my students this very first meeting of fall semester, don't take the class in your PJs, at least not as a regular habit and definitely not to start. Everything we know about forming good habits, again, this is my work as a physical therapist when I'm talking to people about the importance of physical movement, creating fitness habits. It's really important that you create a habit, and a habit takes anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks to build. So gosh, that's half the semester, which means don't take your class in your PJs for half the semester at least, okay? I know I do some things, and again, this is just me and knowing what works for me, and again, just trying to share some of those things with my students. Email mode, work mode, study mode. And so email mode for me, cup of coffee in the morning, sitting on my couch. Still in my physical house, right? Sitting on my couch, casually looking through email, cup of coffee in hand. Work mode, if I am doing something like this, right, where I'm really trying to be task oriented, I am, for you guys, it would be like listening to a lecture, working through actual course content, things, practice materials that you're working on. I need a low distraction environment, but I also need kind of an upright sitting space, right? So whether it's a table or a desk, that I can have some distraction. I can have some distractions with this, because if I'm listening to a lecture and I just get a brief kind of turn of my attention, that's okay. That's okay. I can lock back into the lecture and I can be there. Study mode, okay. Those I really have to minimize distractions, and I have to set realistic expectations for myself about how long I can be a productive studier. For me, that's grading, right? When I've really got to be tuned in, I've got to give it my full attention. But for you guys, it's that study mode that's happening in those study hours. It's not necessarily participating in that online class. So again, this is couch versus my office versus my library nook, right? So email mode is on my couch, that's fine. If I'm in work mode, I'm kind of in my office, or the library is awesome. We have that great library that you guys can take advantage of. Go find a space for yourself that becomes your space down at the point. And so comfortable seating that is not my bed or my couch. And then again, just watching your distractions with Snapchat, Instagram messaging. Okay, so a lot of the other kind of half of my expertise beyond physical activity is on making learners be more in charge of their own learning, right? And so one of the things we hope to do with you at college is teach you how to be a better learner so that you can continue to learn for the rest of your life. And this really ties in to thinking about a different type of learning, right, than you've been used to all through the years. I know you're getting better at this remote learning, distance-based learning, hybrid, flex-based models, all the things. But if I have to leave you with anything, I'm going to talk about motivation and persistence. So when you want to set yourself up for success in learning, the first thing that you have to do is really think about your goals. And I know that you've heard people say that, your parents have probably said that, your coaches have said that, other teachers have said that, but in particular, when you're a college student, goal setting is important. You have to see the big picture, right? Whatever your big picture is. I teach in allied health, and so a lot of my students have goals of going on to graduate school. And so their goal is getting through Otterbein with the required prerequisites, and getting into graduate school. That's their big picture. But if you're only seeing the big picture, it's too overwhelming, right? It's too hard for me to understand how my anatomy and physiology class fits into the big picture of me wanting to be a physical therapist at that moment in time. And so you have to bite off small chunks. You have to set small goals for yourself that say, you know what, this unit, I'm really going to understand what the learning objectives are, and I'm going to bite it off in small chunks by staying true to my schedule, not taking class in my PJs, and trying to be as engaged as possible as I can, reaching out and grabbing the education that's being provided for me, and just take it one day at a time. Right now, we really all just kind of have days that feel better than others, right? And that's true, pandemic or not pandemic. So just understand it's one day at a time. Keep working forward on your schedule. Give yourself that weekly to-do list and give yourself that daily to-do list. Give yourself the joy of crossing something off the list that gives you that kind of endorphin rush that I'm making forward progress. I'm doing what I set my mind to do, and trust and know that there's just a lot of support for you here. And so understand that if you're struggling on any of these areas, reach out, right? Reach out to understand what your goals are, how the short-term goal can align to that long-term goal. We have great professors, great advisors here, great student success advocates, whether it's at the Center for Student Success, the Center for Career and Professional Development, any of those places, they can be a huge help to you in making sure that you are kind of understanding how all those things align to the big picture. And again, don't take class in your PJs. Have a great spring semester, everybody.